I'm going to start this one off like soft and nice and light because this is going to be a heavy one. Holy. So I'm going to start it off with something from Buddhism. It's actually about a lotus flower. And now a lotus flower is something that's seen a lot in Buddhism, and a lotus flower is a flower that grows in the mud. And the thicker and the deeper the mud becomes, the more beautiful the lotus flower will grow. And this is from actually a Buddhist chant that is, I'm not going to sit here and chant for you. It's one that I do daily. I'm not going to sit here and chant for you in my little mantra voice, but maybe now would be the time to think about that. Maybe just vibe on that thought for a bit. Like a lotus is a flower that grows in mud. Like it grows in complete like mud, not just regular dirt, but like mud. And the thicker and more terrible and deep the mud kind of becomes, the more the lotus flower, the more the flower will flourish and bloom and become more beautiful. So think about that. So meditate on that. Like I say, now would be the time to get yourself a glass of water, take a deep breath, do some, birthday candles, do some meditation breaths if that's what you do. Go do a Buddhist chant if that's what you do. Now's the time to find your fucking calm place. Because obviously you saw my title to this to draw you all in. And obviously, I want to welcome you to episode 99 with me, your host, Tanya Candler, on 21st Century Rocker Mom podcast. And we're getting into some weird stuff now. It's getting close to the 100th episode. And some things that I've seen as of the last couple weeks and read and documentaries I've watched and people I've talked to and all kinds of made me think of weird things. Things I didn't want to think about, but things that are right in front of my face, so I have to talk about them. I almost called this episode the Pedo Files because it's about so much. There's so much pedophilia and trying to keep your children safe and trying to keep people safe in this episode, and so many things that have happened to me and so many things that have happened to other kids and so much stuff that I've heard and it all started with seriously watching the Woody Allen, like a Mia Farrow versus Woody Allen sort of thing, rewatching that again. So that started the thing with me thinking about pedophilia and, that it's not just in Hollywood, it's everywhere. It's in the music business. When I say Hollywood, I don't mean just in the acting business. I've done many shows on the dangers of the music business, how you be lured and groomed, and the dangers of the acting business and how you be lured and groomed, and cults and how you be lured and groomed. But it's all of it. Where it's everything and it's everywhere, and it's become more prevalent. And I have HBO and Prime and all the channels, so I can do some research, not by reading. Some of it's just by watching. Some of it's reading articles. Some of it's something someone sent to me. Sometimes it's watching something that someone's done that's reviewed on YouTube. It's not something that someone's shooting out their ass. I want to know actual information that pertains to it. That's factual information. So, of course, pedophilia on the internet is not something that is new, I guess. It's been around for a very long time. It's just only rearing its head more now, and it's coming out more because of things like TikTok and Instagram and platforms where there are no age limits and things like that. So the groomers are out in full force. So I was talking about, grooming in that sense because I was watching a documentary, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, but you should watch this documentary no matter what you think of this topic or not. Get to know this documentary because it's more than just about this family. The Duggar documentary, about the Duggar family, the shiny, happy people documentary, I think it's out on Amazon Prime, I want to say. It's on Prime. And the skull duggery and fuggery that's going on with the Duggars and that fucking family. Holy shit. Why is this excused by religious groups? Why is this fuckery excused by religious groups? Why? I want to know why. Because it's crazy that religious groups get in cults get excused from this, and certain elite groups get excused from it. Religious groups are one of the major ones that get along with and get away with, like, they're affiliated with and they get away with so much abuse of children that it's not even funny, and negligence of children. Why is there so much known abuse and so many circles of abuse and so many of it known about, and just so much of it's passed over without even the bat of an eyelash? It's not even talked about. It's known about, but I'm sure it's talked about in some circles, but it's not talked about like out loud. Is there like a generational history, or is it history through a particular like sect, or a particular religious group, or a particular cult that is, sexually abusing a family member? It gets a pass because maybe that particular religion believes that a woman has no voice, and children, it must be ultimate obedience for women and children, and they have no voice whatsoever. So if they're being abused, or if children are being abused, maybe that's why it's being excused. Why is it being excused? Because there's no excuse for it, because it's got to be talked about and acted upon, and people have got to be punished for this, obviously. Like, or do they? Like, what happens? Come on now. These people have more kids than Kitty's had members, right? The fucking Duggars. Holy shit. I have Duggars, like, it's like, one of those memes, and it has like the Straight Outta Compton logo on it, but it says Straight Outta Condoms. And I'm just going to take that Straight Outta Condoms meme, like part of it down. I'm just going to tell my kids it was Kitty. Because there were so many kids in the family. It was like the members of, like, I'm literally looking at like a poster of Kitty right now. And all the people that have, like, including myself, that have been in the band. So, like, I'm going to tell my kids this is Kitty, like, when they're older. Because it's funny. Speaking of Kitty, I made some new friends through a Kitty connection, actually. I was vending for a night market with the Rockaholic Grooming Company, and I was vending out in St. Thomas, and I noticed some cool friends that had cool band t-shirts on, and we got to talking, and Kitty actually came up, and then I had a do I or don't I moment in my brain, because I was just like, I don't know how this is all gonna go. Like, this is go one of two ways. So I was just like, oh, so y'all like Kitty? Because they started talking about Kitty, and they're like, oh yeah, hell yeah. So I was like, oh, I was the original bass player. Well, they freaked the fuck out, so we had to go outside, and they were like really excited. It was really cute, and they wanted to get a picture and everything like that, but they were like shaky, so I had to do the selfie thing, and I felt like a total like old lady. And we got a picture together, and they like seriously, they said the most affectionately like sweet things about Kitty. They were super nice kids, and I say this like most affectionately though too. Like, Kitty follows me everywhere. It's like everywhere, and I'll talk about this later, but what do I keep in the forefront of my mind when meeting people or a friend or a fan associated with anything Kitty? That nowadays, that the kind of like the new school fans of new metal are much younger than we used to be, obviously, because now we're like Xennials or whatever they call us. I don't know, X-millennials or Generation X or Y. I don't know. I'm 40, so I don't know what generation I am. I don't know. I'm old. But new school fans, I'll say this, are much younger. I'm old enough to be some of y'all's parents. So interactions online and in person are always a special time, and safety is like really like paramount to me, because it's just, it's important, internet safety, because when you don't know someone's age, honestly, it's going to be like a Rick James situation. Like, she was only 17. You can't guess someone's age. It's so hard to tell these days. No one guesses that I'm 40. There's a Rick James story from my past that I will never fucking live down. Speaking of asking for age. Now, nowadays, this would be considered major trouble, but at the time, I was playing a show with the Alcoholics, and I was, I think, like 27 at the time. This is before I had kids. This is before I was married, and I was single at the time. And so I was playing a show with the Alcoholics, and there was another band there, and there was a bass player in this other band, and it was this guy, and I was like, oh, he's cute. So we got to talking about stuff. We had a lot in common. We both played bass, and like we were both smoking a lot of pot at the time. So he wanted to show me something in his car, and he wanted to show me his pipe. And did I have any pot? And of course I had some pot on me, and so we were going to use his pipe, and bing, bang, bong, one thing led to another and whatever. After I was just like, oh, we got to talking, and we were talking about school. And I was like, what school did you go to, like, for high school? And I was like, oh, I went to Saunders. And he was like, oh, cool, like, me too. I was like, fuck yeah, okay, cool. Saunders, go Sabres, fuck yeah. So I go and I look him up. He just fucking graduated. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, he was of age, but just a fucking nickel past a fucking hair. Like, oh my God. So I never lived that one down. That's why I say, like, you can't be too careful when it comes to, like, checking someone's age or knowing someone's age or being responsible about someone's age. Like, if I had to date now, oh my God, I would shoot myself, because, like, I'm not a good judge of how old someone is. So I'd have to, like, I'd be like, can I see your identification, please? I have fucking no idea how old you are. Someone could have a beard on their face and be like 12 underneath there. I don't fucking know. It could be majestic fur fade. I don't fucking know. So I'll never live that one down. Anyways, I'm all for, like, 100% like consent. But, like, do we really need to seriously get ID before sexual situations now? Like, 19 plus or whatever. I don't know, man. Did I feel like some gross, like, fucking babysitter after that shit? I felt like a gross, disgusting babysitter. Terrible. And this isn't just in the music world. Like, I mean, it's cross-pollinated, like, everywhere. It's everywhere. Like I said, it's in the movies. It's in cults. I say worst, in my opinion, are religious sects and cults and stuff like that. This is where I think kids get abused the worst. Worst. This is why someone, like, asked me, like, when I was in a band, even when I was in church, I remember one time I was at a picnic, and some kid asked me if they could watch me eat a hot dog, and they were, like, older than me. And I, like, didn't know what it meant at the time. I mean, I know what it means now, and that's not the first time someone's, like, wanted to, like, ask me if they could watch me eat a hot dog, or, like, looked at me while I was eating my banana. So I'm like, I don't eat those kinds of things in public anymore. I just don't. So anyways, but I say, like, what's religious groups and cults are the worst, because let's start with the likeliest of people, like, with the most clean, squeaky image. They're always the most, like, nefarious of characters. There's always something crazy hiding underneath the surface with those kinds of characters. And what can I say? Everybody's well known forever that favorite ever multiplying family, the Duggars, and 19 kids and counting people. I don't know how many kids are in that family now, but a lot. But the Duggars, like Doug, like dig your grave for all the shit you condoned and participated in. After watching that Shiny Happy People documentary, plus what I've read, plus I've known other things, like in the tabloids, what I've read with court records, with Josh Duggar's court records, they've been bad. That they got a God that's okay with abusing and sexually molesting and raping kids. They have a God that devalues and dehumanizes women and children. What kind of God is that? It sounds more like the devil's work to me. Like, for me, I was raised Lutheran, and now I'm a practicing Buddhist and have been since I was, like, 16. I've been in a cult, so I mean, like, I know my shit, and I know how to spot shit. I know how to spot it right on, like, right from the beginning. The Duggars still belong to a very controversial sect of Christianity, which is not really Christianity at all, called the IBLP, which is the Institute of Basic Life Principles, the Institute of Basic Life Principles, the IBLP, which is still an active ministry in Big Sandy, Texas, many of which the Duggars, like I say, still belong to. So some are still members, some are not, the ones that have walked away, obviously. But this was supposed to be a branch of Christianity, which it is absolutely not. It's a branch of mind control. What is the IBLP? It is a non-denominational Christian organization. I'm putting that very loosely in brackets. Christian organization that serves as an umbrella organization and other, like, ministries established by a guy named Bill Gothard that he established in 1961 after he kind of saw some shit going down in his high school, and he thought, oh, boys and girls shouldn't be acting like that too, with the whole girlfriend boyfriend thing. They should be acting more respectful towards each other, and only their conservative values will save them. They need Jesus. So he thought his core principles were design, authority, responsibility, suffering, ownership, freedom, and success. Heavily based on homeschooling, the man has the final and only word. Children are barely seen and not heard at all unless it's ultimate obedience. Women are devalued. Homeschooling, like mathematics, takes away for slut shaming. They kind of say, if she's dressed like that, she's asking for it. This kind of dress, like showing your knees or your ankles or your shoulders, gives way to lustful thoughts. So they're getting taught slut shaming. They were going to literally rebuild America with the troops of conservative children they had in. So the Duggars are part of this family. And Bill Gothard, what's with this guy? The guy was born in 1934. He's an ultra-conservative, right-wing guy, Christian guy who teaches and encourages Bible memorization. Large families, as many as the body can physically have. He wants you to have that many kids. Homeschooling to only what they believe, not the regular syllabus and what you get taught in school. Aversion to debt. So not being scared of going into debt, just being averted to it completely. No, there's no, I won't be able to have any debt. No. So not so much aversion to the, I think aversion to the threat of debt. And they've got aversion to that. He wants them to be completely worry-free about debt, not worry about it too much. He really thrives on male superiority and having the man be in charge. Female obedience, very conservative attire. Like I say, no shoulders, no jeans, no knees showing, no ankles, no shoulders, no chest region, none of that stuff. Obviously, wearing pantaloons under your dresses, which are big puffy pants. Obviously, this guy only believes in only two genders, man-woman thing. He's pro-rape. By that I mean anti-choice. In 2014, he was actually accused of sexual assault by 34 women, most of them who were underage. So children, little girls. Where's this prick now? Well, the last time he made a Facebook post was May of this year, 2023, and seemingly went poof into the air. He's fucking stay there. Now, we've all heard about the Duggars and the abuse scandal, that ever-growing petri fucking dish of a family. Oh my God, stop fucking procreating. It's fucking gross already. It's enough. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. Maybe it broke wide open when Josh Duggar, the eldest son of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, got caught with his fucking little dick out on Ashley Madison, where his fucking absolutely idiotic fucking wife still standing by her man while rocking out his babies 7 at a fucking time. I'm no, those kids got to be out of that situation. His own kids have to be out of his house. He's a monster. And then I'd read the news today. Oh boy, Anna, that's his wife. What the fuck are you thinking, lady? Seriously? He was lobbying for Mike Huckabee, number one, with his dad, another fucking idiot, Mike Huckabee, asshole. All the while he was molesting girls, children, and including and not limited to his own four sisters and siblings. So that's just some of the iceberg. This sick little fuck is convicted. He's a convicted sex offender. So he's incarcerated, and that was the last time that I checked. He's been incarcerated. Somehow he's had the time to create 7 children with his clueless fucking wife. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Maybe she's cool with this. His parents knew since 2002 that they were punishing him at home for fondling his sisters while they slept. And in 2003, after even more events were uncovered, he was sent away by the church elders and returned home and was introduced to an officer, friend of his dad's, named Joseph Truman Hutchins, who he spilled the beans to, completely spilled the beans. And officers in that state are actually required to report this under state law. But Hutchins gave him a stern talking to and told him not to do it again, and it scared the shit out of him, and he knew about all the abuse, but later denied if his own lawyer said that he denied hearing about any of the abuse. He didn't know about it. But then this was only after He became convicted of his own charges, this officer that he talked to. He was charged with child pornography also, and then he was sentenced to 56 years in prison because his charges were so bad. Bye. It wasn't until about 2006, after a tip that was like off of Oprah, that someone tipped off Oprah's staff that the people she was going to have on the show, which were the 19 kids and counting Duggar family, that someone was molesting people. And she was just like, no. She put the kibosh on it. And she said, I don't think that we're going to have you people on the show. And she kind of said no to the Duggars. And then Springdale police started an investigation. And they were all in 2019. He was investigated at his used car dealership, the eldest son, Josh Duggar, who was molesting his sisters. Now, please, I'm going to give you another like trigger warning here, because this is like, I've given you a trigger warning saying like take a deep breath, but like this is really disturbing, and it was disturbing to me. So I will say like terrible. Like this is the time I'm giving you another trigger warning to take that deep breath, pause, water, whatever it is. Pornographic images at his work were seized by like federal marshals that said it was the worst things that they've ever seen in their career. There was images of children under the age of 12 seized. On April 29th, 2021, U.S. federal marshals arrested Josh Duggar in accordance to his crimes. A special agent for Homeland Security said that the files on his computer were beyond the worst things he'd ever seen in his career, including the torture and sexual abuse of a 18-month-old toddler. He's a convicted sex offender. He has to register once if he's ever out. Currently serving 12-year bullshit sentence. Like 12 years? Are you fucking kidding me? Like downloading pictures of little babies and videos of little babies. Like, come on. What the fuck? Hopefully something happens behind bars, real justice. But anyways, 12-year bullshit sentence followed by 20 years of supervised release. This means he can have no unsupervised contact with minors. That includes his own children. So in 12 years, if some of his kids will be like, 19, 20, like he's still for 20 years after that has to be supervised with any of the, like his own kids, even when they're not minors, because they're his blood and who knows, right? He always has to have supervision. Big brother's watching you now, you little fucking asshole. That's what you get. Looks like Jesus doesn't believe in pedophiles, and no one is fucking coming to save you. I'll tell you what does believe in pedophiles, though. Assholes in jail that don't, like, there are guys that murder people, there are guys that hurt people, hurt grown-ups and stuff, and they're in jail, and they don't like people that hurt little kids. So hopefully Josh Duggar gets something in jail. Hopefully the same thing Jeffrey Dahmer got. You don't hurt little kids, you just don't. Like, I don't know. Growing up on TV, I'm talking about his sisters now, and having to carry all this shit with them and then inevitably talk about this to like the media had to be really like traumatic for these girls. It must have been really traumatic. And growing up female in any industry is hard. I rewatched What's Love Got to Do with It a couple times because Tina Turner had passed away, and I just was thinking of her, and plus her documentary I had watched too. And it hit me differently this time because this time I thought about her age when she met Ike Turner and how young and how inappropriate that is to start. Anna Mae Bullock or Tina Turner, or the queen of rock and roll. She had the best voice and the best legs in show business. She started in Ike's band when she was like 19. He was somewhere like 9 years older than her, I think, at the time. So, I mean, 8 or 9 years older than her, I think, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's the age difference, but like he was older than her, and he'd already kind of been married and already kind of been around the block. And she was like really young, and she was kind of country. She'd grown up in the country. She'd grown up with kind of taking care of her grandmother, and then growing up with her mother and sister. She'd always kind of been kind of a kid. And then she had to put her big girl pants on big time. She made him an absolute fucking like fortune. He saw a good thing when he saw it in a young, pretty girl. He abused her, like she made him a fortune. He assaulted her, physically, sexually. He abused her financially. Any way you can think of. She beat her in front of her children. He took all her money. He threatened her anytime. Something just didn't go his way. He threatened her. He infantilized her. She wasn't allowed to make her own decisions. She wasn't allowed to make her own business decisions. It wasn't until 1978 that she actually got a divorce from him, where all she wanted was her name that she got from him. That's the only thing she wanted. She didn't want like money or cash or cars or all the things that she'd accrued for Ike Turner. She just wanted her name, Tina Turner, that she kind of built for herself, but she got her last name when she married him, obviously. Now, she'd been abandoned growing up by her mother, left to live with her grandma, and all the while her mom like took her sister with her. So she left her behind. So I don't know how a mother could just dump off a child like that, but I've seen it happen. That's another form of child abuse that like someone has endured, and that's Tina Turner. But lots of kids have been abandoned. It's rampant, like I say again, but it's not spoken about too much. How many kids get dumped off with a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, not because the parents just irresponsible, because they just don't want to take care of them. It's just as plain as that. It's not anything complicated. Not they're hooked on drugs, not they're an alcoholic, not they're suffering with something. They just don't want to take care of them. I had a kid, I'm just like, nope. And they just leave. That's another form of abuse. Or they're so fucked that they can't take care of the child. That's really sad to see too. That's hard. Why aren't we talking about it more than, like, why aren't we talking about these things more and more often? Are we afraid of talking about it? Are we embarrassed? Or are we too, like, disgusted by it to talk about it? Because we all have kids. We're at that age where we have kids. And we're at the age where our friends have kids. And we're too disgusted and put off by it to talk about it. It's our job to protect kids, right? It's our job as adults to protect, it's our job as parents to protect our own children, but it's our job as adults to protect kids and look out for them and look out for the best interests of children. I think lots of right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing experiences are going on. You know what I mean? I find that happens with a lot of like kids and parents. This is why kids on social media is so fucking scary. It's very scary, and it's very limited in what I let go on the internet with my kids. Like, they have like their Minecraft and stuff like that. But when it comes to like open world games, I'm just like, no open world games, no open world. No, you're not doing open world games where you can just like talk to other people. And I don't know how old these other people are. Like, they can play it if I'm in the room and I'm watching them on, and this is only with my eldest. But no, I'm limited on what my kids can watch on the internet and things like that. I've had things happen to people I know and against their children, like sick shit. Sincerely, not okay. Like, not okay. I've had like all kinds of things happen to people I know's children that they put their kids on the internet regularly, and it's just always been part of their kind of thing and how they do things. And I've had people come at their children, at their families, and that's wrong. And I think that's sick. I think it's right up there. Would I let my child have a TikTok? Hell to the nah. It seems like every bad and dangerous idea turns into some kind of challenge. Would I let my kid have a TikTok? No, I wouldn't. These types of platforms where there is so much sharing going on can get really predatory really fast, and they can cross the line fast. They can be slippery slopes. You get one sicko on a live stream, you know what I mean, or an Instagram live or anything like that. One sicko under some fake account. You get them in the comment section. You try to block it all out, but they've got several like dummy accounts, or like they open things anonymously, and you see it happen. Like, I've seen it happen all the time. I see people passing inappropriate comments about people's kids, about what they're going to do to their kids, about what they're going to do to their family, about their moms, about their parents, about their family, about their situation. Like, shit about people's wives, about people's husbands. Gross. Like, things that I would never think to comment about someone's family or for family situation. But like nasty things about their kids. Shit, like people should be put in jail for opening their mouths and saying those kinds of things. This is why they teach internet safety in school now. It's actually like a part of social studies. I think it's social studies. They teach internet safety and internet etiquette at school now. Like, why is there so much more stranger danger now than when I was in school? I mean, it was there. It was definitely there. I have a few stories, back in the day. Like, there was a guy who drove around like my area and by my school who, had candy or like a puppy in his car. And he'd say, I know he had like he had a white car. He never approached me, but we always have like on the announcements, they'd say, like on the overhead page, they'd say, there's a gentleman with a white car driving around. And they'd always let us know. We knew about the stranger danger. Our whole school did. They tell us on morning announcements because we listened then. So maybe we were more aware because we listened. Because the guy would approach kids and say he had a puppy in his car and to get in his car. No one ever got in the car with him. And Like, London is a weird place anyway for that, because there's been so many women taken from London. So many women, so many cold cases from London too, because we've got lots of major highways running parallel and in and out of here, and you can get in and out of London pretty easily undetected. So London's a big place for things like that. Why does it seem so much more prevalent and dangerous now? Because I'm a parent? I don't think so. I don't think it's because I have kids. I think we're actually really just living in different times. People think that they're safe behind a keyboard or a screen, and this could not be further from the truth at all. Kids are just more woke, and their parents are so fucking fast asleep. I see it everywhere. It's astonishing. It blows my goddamn mind. These woke ass kids and these absolutely slumbering parents. And I see it as a recipe for fucking disaster. Different times. I can't even find my fucking car in the parking lot. Not that I'm driving or anything any day, like these days at all, because of my seizure activity. All that stuff going on up in there. It's like a tornado up in my fucking mind. But like I say, I can't drive. But myself and, like I say, we're not living in real times. We're living in different times. Times where me and people I know are getting into cars that don't even fucking belong to us. I'm serious. It's because we're getting older. And, also we all kind of drive cars that kind of look the same these days. Admittedly, I've gotten into the wrong fucking vehicle. Like, full on, like, I put my whole ass in, the whole thing. I tried to start the car, and then I realized, man, these people listen to fucking shitty music. And then I realized, dude, where's my car? This is not my car. Fuck. I couldn't start it, or be there a key start, like I have like a remote start or whatever. All gray cars are not built the same, like mid-sized vehicles, whatever, SUVs. So now that I can't drive, I don't get to have these adventures. However, I still have many non-driving adventures. Oh, so many fun things. But like sometimes someone just always has to know like where I am, which is weird and like kind of annoying, but I understand the safety feature with the seizures. It's a strange and weird adjustment as an adult. And talk about strange and weird adult stuff and adjustments. I'm going to go back to Rob McCallum's, because Rob asked me a long time ago when this podcast first started, because it's like I'm getting to 100 episodes. You'd always have a question of the week because I do it daily. It was Rob McCallum's question of the week. And his question of the week was, because of course we're getting up to episode 99, so we're going to get silly. And his question of the week was this. I actually have to take a drink before I say this question. I said, here, I would talk about this later, and I'm going to talk about it. So here it is. And this is what I said follows me everywhere. Here's my question of the week. Rob's question of the fucking week is this. How many times in my life have I heard the song Brackish? He asked me that. And I was just like, well, how long you got, partner? Like, how long do you actually fucking have? Seriously. How much time do you have on your fucking little hands to let me tell you how many times I've heard Brackish in my life? How about like people walking up to you and singing the hook to you, just going do 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 do. Like, not only is that embarrassing for you, but that's embarrassing for me. Like, just to get caught in that spot, horrible. And then like the kids like yell at Alexa. They're like, play Radish. They think it's, my youngest thinks it's called Radish. My eldest knows that the song is called Brackish. The kitty like broke with big or whatever. But my youngest, my daughter, thinks it's called radish, like the vegetable or the root, the tuber. The root vegetable radish. It's like herpes, man. Just when you think it's gone, it pops up to say hello at the most inopportune of times. Not just sexy times, weird times, but that's something I can't live that down too. That's like another thing I can't live down. Get off my jock! Fuck me! Ha! How many times have I heard brackish? Get off my fucking jock. Too many times to fucking count is the answer. Also, I can kind of half let the cat out of the bag because I was doing Beards and Bitchin', but I'm doing my Beards and Bitchin' episodes in between stuff. There's kind of a little bit of that, sort of, kind of. I can kind of let the cat out of the bag. Halfway. I'm just going to give you the tip. That's just the tip, because I got a new business partner. I can tell you this. And they are someone I trust, someone I've worked with before, someone I've had good luck and success working with. And things are going so well at Rockaholic that this is just another business venture. And the business partner, I'll let you know, is me. It's me. I'm the partner. It's me. I am partnering up with myself and, of course, a few silent partners to bring you something brand new that is actually not going to be part of the 21st Century Rocker Mom podcast. It kind of sort of goes with the grooming company, but kind of not really at all. But it's a brand new business, and I'm so excited to show you. And people are testing things with the prototypes for this business as we speak right now. And I don't know when I'm looking at launching. It's going to be a bit, I already have fall stuff with it. So I don't know, maybe sometime around the fall again. Maybe closer to when Rockaholic has a year anniversary. I don't know. We'll see. But some interesting things are happening. And I'm finally making and nearing episode 100. So what the fuck am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. I don't think I'm going to show up with a script at all. I think I'm just going to do it completely unscripted. Who knows? You're going to have to wait and see what's going on for episode 100. So if you want to find me, you know where to find me. The streaming platforms, I cannot get this shit to upload right now. So you won't find me on any of the streaming platforms for now until I get back onto all your Apple Podcasts and the Spotifys and on the Podbeans and all those things, all those fabulous little podcast platforms that spit me out, but I can't for some reason make it work. So I'm trying a different platform. Anyways, if you want to find me, I'm here on Instagram at 21st Century Rocker Mom, and TikTok, I do the same handle at 21st Century Rocker Mom. On YouTube, it's Tanya Candler channel. You can find all this information, useless information, or maybe it's useful information for you, up in my link tree, in my bio, in my Instagram, which is probably where you found this. Check it out. Again, find me here on YouTube, on Tanya Candler channel. If you click subscribe, you'll never miss a little thing that happens on here. And obviously, I will see you for episode 100. I'm excited for that. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll see. It's going to be fun, though. So show up, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. And things will be changing a little bit on Instagram. There'll be a little bit more kind of going on in the reel department. You'll see what I mean. All this and more on the next episode of 21st Century Rocker Mom podcast with me, your host, Tanya Candler. I will see you all on the flip flop. Be good to each other. Bless you. I'll see you next time.